Oh my God, like I didn't think we would ever be sitting here.
Especially 2 years later.
2 years. I came into your office, this actual space right here, and I was losing everything.
I remember it well. You were freaking out.
I was freaking out because Judge Ray, for my case, had sent down a writ of execution to freeze my bank accounts, to take my house, any assets that I owned, it was coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was speaking to, bankruptcy lawyers, just trying to, gather how I'm going to, really approach all of this. And I remember I kept Googling bankruptcy attorneys after I spoke to one and I spoke to another, and they all told me that this was impossible. They was like, this is impossible. I want to help you, but I can't. And I remember just kept coming across your firm, 5 stars. 5 stars.
Hard to be a 5-star bankruptcy.
It's hard to be a 5-star bankruptcy attorney. And you deal with a lot of bankruptcies, Chad.
We do.
And I was just like, I've lost faith in lawyers. I've lost faith in lawyers. Like, I'm just like, this is it. This is the last, I filed bankruptcy before. It was a scary thing to go into back in 2011. And I came out successful, rebuilt my credit, got a place to stay, got a car, got credit cards. And so for me to be back here again, I was just like, dang, and being told that this was impossible to do because of the type of situation I was in. It was tort, which means the judgments don't go away. Mm-hmm. You have to pay them. But I'm like, but how do I pay them? Like, I don't have, my total debt is about, I think, 4.1 million or something altogether with all my creditors involved. I was like, I don't have $4.1 million sitting in my bank account, and I can actively work and pay this if I get a feasible payment plan. And that's all that I wanted, was a payment plan so that I could work and pay my bills as I've always done, and taxes included. Yep. And so I remember praying. I kid you not, I was praying. And I was like, if this is who I'm supposed to go to, I'm supposed to go to. And I remember coming to your office and you were so calm. And you were, I remember your tone. It was everything. It was like, you could tell. I don't know, could you tell?
Yeah, well, I'm used to people coming to my office, and obviously this is a stressful time in your life. And for some people, it's the worst time in their life, where they think life is over. My only option is to flee the country or worse, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
and that was an option for me.
Yeah.
That was an option. I said, but I'm not running from nothing.
Of course.
Nothing.
And you wanted to do the right thing. You just didn't know what to do. And unfortunately, when you go to attorneys and they don't give you hope. I mean, that's part of the reason why I got into bankruptcy, because I saw the power of bankruptcy, where it changes somebody's life, where they're helpless, they're hopeless, it's over, to, oh, wait, we can put a plan together, we can work this out. I'm not going to just have to do depositions for the rest of my life, have my wages garnished, my bank accounts frozen. Yeah. I mean, that's no way to live, where you're worried about people coming to your house and taking your stuff every day. And one of my favorite lyrics is, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. Well, in this situation, impossible took 2 years. Yeah. But many of my attorney colleagues, they refer me the impossible cases, because I like that's my favorite thing, is finding something that nobody else can find, finding the answer where it's not right in front of you. The easy cases are great. The easy cases. Yeah. None of these cases are really easy, but the ones that are straightforward, those are great. I love how those go through, and those are life-changing. But the ones that everybody else is like, there's nothing we can do. Well, there's always something.
I'm telling you, I had every lawyer, bankruptcy lawyer, and it's like they wanted the money. They saw that, because the type of bankruptcy I did it's quite pricey. You have to have money to file this type of bankruptcy. It wasn't a Chapter 7. A Chapter 7 is like, just take everything, liquidate it. I get to start over from zero, fresh. This was more like, I like to put it, debt consolidation.
Yeah, and it really is. It's called a Chapter 11 reorganization, because it really is reorganizing your financial life. And a Chapter 7 wouldn't have been beneficial for you in this case for many reasons. But mostly because priority debt, which is tax debt, generally speaking, is non-dischargeable. And then there was other non-dischargeable debt, obviously, from the judgment that we had to deal with. So if you just did a Chapter 7, we would have cleared out some of the debt, but then the IRS, Georgia, the judgment holder, all would have just come right back and try to collect from you again, which that's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is peace of mind. I can make a monthly payment, I make money, but I just can't pay you all at once today, and I can't have you harassing me every day and freezing my accounts.
Who can pay everything once today is the question. In that case, we might as well just be going on car lots saying, I'm taking the whole car right now, cash. And normally people who have that kind of cash, 9 times out of 10, it ain't legal.
Yeah, that's true.
It ain't legal.
That's true.
You know? And so the thing about it is, it's like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Me and you, and it was what I love about working with you, Chad, I ain't gonna lie. You know my emotions can be on 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be emailing you 3 a.m. You see this? What's going on? And you just be like, we're fine.
Deep breath. We're all right.
We're good.
Yep.
Relax. And I love that you didn't make any promises to me. Mm-hmm. Like, every lawyer that I've worked with has always made these promises and never, kept up these promises. But for you, you're like, listen, we're going to figure something out and we're going to deal with this. And I love how you told me in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember this. You said, go get me $1.5 million.
I did.
And this was when maybe a month after we filed the bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what if am I going to get $1.5 million? And you was like, you smart. Go get it.
That's right.
Yesterday was the day. And I'll never forget, I was like, he's right. I'm smart.
Look, money doesn't solve everything. We know money doesn't solve all the problems in the world, but when it comes into the bankruptcy world, money goes a long way. And one of my best friends, former client, we're going through the numbers, and he's like, man, what do we got to do? I said, what do we got to do? I said, you got to make more money.
Yes.
I said, you're talented. You're an entrepreneur. Go make more money. And every year on my birthday, he quotes, make more money. And that just triggered it for him. He's like, why didn't I think of that?
You woke something up in me, Chad. It was like, even though it was there, but it was like, I have a platform. I have viewers. I'm not a beggar. Yeah. You know me. Mm-hmm. I could have easily said, hey, pay this. But I'm like, that's not even in my DNA. I've never asked my mom for money. I've never asked my dad for money. I left the house at 18. I started working at 14. I've owned several businesses. I pride myself on doing the right thing and paying. And when you said, go get me 1.5 at the beginning, and I was like, but we submitted this bankruptcy with 200,000. I'll never forget this because it was like when it came out and it was publicly everywhere, I was like, oh my God. But it was like, that's what was on paper. Mm-hmm. This is what she could pay. Was 200,000 was the first plan that we put together. Mm-hmm. And then when everything, as it unveiled, and you kept telling me, Tasha, don't focus on this. Because I was, the media was talking, everybody was talking, oh, you're going to jail, tax evasion, all of that. I'm like, who am I? I'm in bankruptcy. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And you just kept saying, Tasha, go get me the money. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. And I'll never forget, there was another plan that you put together after I went and got some money. Mm-hmm. And you said 800,000. Mm-hmm. That was plan number 2. and the creditors was like, no. And then the plan number 3, 1.2 million came up under the 1.5. You asked me to go get from the beginning. And you did that shit.
Well, it really is a partnership because obviously I can file whatever legal pleadings, I can make whatever legal argument, but unless you follow through, unless you're showing that you have the ability to actually drive that revenue, which unfortunately a lot of people don't, or they limit themselves, where they don't have a growth mindset where they can come up with ideas and whatnot, and instead they'll do like a GoFundMe or something like that, which I know that you weren't interested in that. You were interested in, let me hustle, let me figure out a way to drive this revenue. All I need is to be able to focus on my craft, and you let me handle what I needed to handle. You focused on what you needed to handle. And that's, generally speaking, a successful Chapter 11, whether it's an individual or a business.
And that's the thing. Let's talk about the Chapter 11, because there were a lot of misreports out there. And you saw them because I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Because in my initial case, things were going on that I wasn't privy to because I was focused on building my platform. Mm-hmm. So when things hit the fan, I was like, oh my God, it was a shock to me because I was just like, but all this money went towards, this is all I can do. I'm sorry. You should have. Had I would have known that this was going to be a type of judgment that couldn't get discharged, there would have been a settlement out the gate. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yep. To avoid what I went through now. But it was like I got bad legal representation. And that was the thing. And so with this, it was hard for me to do what I did before, which was focus on building me and letting you handle this because of the bad legal advice that I had gotten in the past. But when I tell you, you did it, and you did it without bringing any added stress to my life.
Well, that's a goal that I tell my entire team, and I try to do it where I say, leave that stress here. Especially for our Chapter 11 clients, which generally speaking are longer in the process. If you're concentrating on the stress, you're not concentrating on making the money that I need to be able to put together a feasible plan. Mm-hmm. So the more you can just leave that stress here. And usually the hardest thing for my clients is making that first call. And then once they get signed up and they know that I'm their guy, we're good at that point. But it's getting through that initial, oh my God, my life is over phase. And then getting back into that growth mindset where, all right, we can work this out. And actually money fixes this, and I know how to make money. So let me go out there, create great product, speak to my followers, speak to my people, and it's all gonna work out if I concentrate on that. If you're concentrating on everything else, you're not gonna have the energy to do what you do.
Man, you have me focused. Between you and my husband, y'all energies are the same. Mm-hmm. You're very calm, and it could be like people on fire. I'm like, and y'all are just like.
Yeah, my wife's the same way. So Venezuelan, Colombian, and she's. I'm like, all right, take a deep breath. It's all gonna work out.
Everything's gonna work out, especially when you got an alpha man. You know what I'm saying? That has a nice suit on, his hair is together, and he got money. Cause this is a big firm, y'all.
You do have a big firm.
It's a big firm, and they have a support dog. I remember I would be in Susan's office, your paralegal, who worked so hard on putting together numbers and answering, emails from the creditors and stuff like that. And she would I don't know if she did it on purpose, but she made your dog come in the room, and she'll be talking about the numbers. We need this, and I'll just be petting the dog. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll get it to you, Miss Susan. No problem. Here's some candy. You want some candy? I'm like, yeah, but they're saying that girl, I talked to Shaq. Don't worry about it. This is how your firm was working. Like, you made me say it's okay to exhale and breathe. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about the different bankruptcies because there's a misconception because I'm not going to say, I don't think it's ignorance. I just think it's just lack of knowledge.
For sure.
And I don't like to, because ignorant is kind of like a disrespectful word.
It is.
It's lack of knowledge. There are many different forms of bankruptcy. You do them all.
Correct.
You even did the most difficult one, which is mine. And you are the only attorney, I think, right now in South Florida that has successfully brought a Chapter 11, which is a big boy bankruptcy for corporations who have millions of dollars in debt, to pay it back, which is a subchapter 5 for small businesses who have a debt ceiling of about $7 million.
Look at you.
I read
you can do something by yourself. You don't need me.
A debt ceiling of like $7 million that came into play around COVID. Mm-hmm. So it's a new bankruptcy, and you were the only attorney in South Florida that has successfully done a bankruptcy this complicated, and you did it with someone with such a controversial lifestyle, and probably is not deserving of something like this. A lot of people would argue because of what happened, but like, needless to say, like, you made it happen. And let's talk about the different bankruptcies. Let's start with the easiest one.
Yes. So there's multiple different chapters. And usually when people come to me, it's after they've been through a lot of things. Us bankruptcy attorneys in general, we're the last of the party.
Okay.
Because people don't just run to us when they necessarily should toward the beginning to know your options. Now, for me, every business owner should understand the different bankruptcy options, even if you're not going to use them. Because some of the best business minds in the world have used the bankruptcy process, and some would say abused it for their own benefit because they know those options. So we talked a little bit about Chapter 11. Under Chapter 11 is the subchapter 5, which was your case.
That's mine.
There you go.
Oh, my debt was under $7 million.
So a sub 5, Chapter 11, as you said, it came around during COVID. It wasn't actually proposed during COVID. That's just how it worked out. And it is for small business and small business owners. So people that with have business debt. It was $7.5 million. Now actually they've lowered it. Hopefully they raised the ceiling again, but came back down. Chapter 7 is the most common bankruptcy, so that'll be about 70% of bankruptcy filings will be Chapter 7. That's a traditional liquidation bankruptcy where you're debt-free in about 3 to 4 months. It takes about 12 to 18 months to rebuild your credit. Generally speaking, these are considered non-asset or no asset cases, meaning nothing's going to be taken from you.
Like you don't have a house.
Yeah, or even if you have a house, it's exempt because of homestead laws in Florida.
Oh.
So they can't take your house.
Okay.
Vehicles, you get $5,000 worth of equity. We actually worked with legislature to get that up to $5,000. It used to be $1,000. You have personal property exemptions. Your retirement accounts are exempt. So a lot of assets that people have are exempt. So that means I would say over 90% of our cases are no asset cases in Chapter 7, where you're not paying anything back. You're just debt-free in about 3 to 4 months.
And you still get to keep your house.
Still get to keep your house.
You still get to keep your car.
Still get to keep your car.
But the credit card debt, medical bills.
And in some cases, even tax debt, older tax debt. If it's older than 3 tax years, that can be discharged as well.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. My tax debt ain't discharged. What happened with mine?
That's a long story. We'll talk offline about that.
All right.
But and with Chapter 7, what a lot of people are scared of is, oh, my credit. Well, most of the people that are considering Chapter 7, their credit's already been destroyed. Whether it's a repossession, whether it's falling behind the credit, foreclosure, whatever it is, your credit's already been destroyed.
Delinquent.
Correct. The only way to rebuild it is by getting that stuff off your credit, which the only legal ways to do that is by settling the debt or by filing bankruptcy. I know there are these credit report fixing agencies out there that'll dispute the debts and whatnot. Those disputes are not legitimate, so they usually come back. So it's a short-term fix.
Not long-term.
Correct. Yeah. But if you're looking long-term, you got to either settle the debt or you got to file the bankruptcy. So that's the Chapter 7. Chapter 13 is a mini version of the Chapter 11. It's an individual reorganization.
So you don't have to be a business.
Correct.
To file Chapter 13.
Correct. It's only for individuals. There is a debt limit to that. And that's why you would not have qualified for Chapter 13 because you were above the debt limit.
And what is that debt limit?
So they keep moving it, but generally speaking, if you have more than $1 million worth of debt, you're going to be kicked into the Chapter 11 system versus the Chapter 13. Okay.
So Chapter 13, anything under $1 million could qualify for an individual person who has under $1 million worth of debt.
Yep. Okay. And that's the general rule. With the Chapter 13, it's more of a science than an art. The Chapter 11 is more of an art. You see the plans are 30, 40, 60 pages long. The Chapter 13 plan is 5 pages, and you're limited to a 5-year payback. You have a Chapter 13 trustee that's more active than the Subchapter 5 or a Chapter 11 trustee would be, and you pay back over time. This is good for people that don't qualify for Chapter 7 because of their income. The income limitation for Chapter 7 in Florida for an individual is around $65,000 a year, and that goes up by household size. It's important to note it's not dependents, it's household size. So if you live with a significant other, they actually look at the income of both. Correct.
Okay.
And it's also good for people that are in foreclosure, losing their house, maybe their HOA is foreclosing, their mortgage company, or if their car is in repo, because it'll stop that and it'll allow you to get caught up over the payments over that 5 years. And in some situations, you can actually reduce the payment.
Okay. And so, but Chapter 11 is reserved for businesses like myself or corporations and things like that. So correct. I love that. Now, I got a few questions for you. They hood questions.
I'm here for it.
Child support.
Yep.
Can you put child support in a bankruptcy?
So child support actually can go into a reorganization.
So a Chapter 13.
Correct. There you go. Chapter 13 and Chapter 11, you can make up child support over the life of the plan. And that's, you're actually required to report in all the cases whether you do have child support. So you even had to, in your case, say, I don't have any domestic support obligations, or I do. You have to fill out a form. It's a required form. And if you do, you have to make up those payments over that 3 to 5 year plan payment. If you want to change child support, which I get a lot of people like, I don't know him, I don't know her, I don't know this. My income's dropped. You gotta go back to the family court. Those are the ones that can change what you owe. Okay. Bankruptcy, a lot of people think bankruptcy court's an appellate court where they can overrule other judges. When other judges make decisions, we just have to look at that document and accept it, even if it's written in crayon and we know this judge doesn't know what he's talking about. the bankruptcy judge has to look at it and say, well, that's a judge that said that, so go back to that judge if you want to change it. So that's a misconception that a lot of people have, that the bankruptcy judges can just look at judgment and say, no, we're going to change that. Generally speaking, they can't change that. Now, what we can do is we can change the terms on how we pay back that judgment or pay the child support, but we can't actually change the underlying document.
Okay, that's good to know, because you'll be shocked that just, child support just, I got a lot of uncles, my daddy, I had to pay his child support one time for me.
Yeah, because you can go to jail.
Yeah, and
which is
my
the
dad
craziest
called
thing to
me
me,
and was
though.
like, they're going to take my license tomorrow and they're going to put me in jail. Your mom has me on back child support. I was 24 years old at the time.
Wow.
She was still collecting.
And this isn't my specialty, what I don't understand is, if you put them in jail, how are they going to pay the child support?
That's why you got to have a good relationship with your baby mama.
Right.
Send her flowers on Mother's Day, even though you don't like her.
Absolutely.
Do what you got to do. That way, if they do try to pick you up, she going to work it out with you.
Yes.
Y'all just be so mean.
Yeah, look at the collective, right? Instead of just punitive punishment for somebody, because putting somebody in jail, that doesn't solve the issue.
Can you and if you do have a suspended license or a passport, and I know a good friend of mine had his passport, he couldn't get a passport, his license was suspended, but when he did file a Chapter 13, he was able to get his passport, travel again, get his license, because he has reported payments being addressed, back pay as well as current pay in his current Chapter 13 bankruptcy, because some of that child support debt is serious.
Oh, for sure. And so Chapter 13 fixes a lot of those issues because the IRS actually can freeze your passport as well. But once you get into the Chapter 13, they can't anymore, because that would be a stay violation, because you are paying back the IRS over time. Same thing with child support. Same thing with if you get a judgment from a car accident, but you don't have proper insurance or any insurance, they can freeze your driver's license. The bankruptcy can get your driver's license back. So that's a big issue that we deal with on a daily basis.
I want to talk about this because, I'm in the world of celebrity entertainment news.
No way.
Yes! I tell their business. We report on when their houses are going in foreclosure, tax liens, all types of stuff. And because I have been, this is not my first bankruptcy, this is my second. And like I said, if I could stay in bankruptcy forever, I'm staying. I ain't going on. Y'all go over there and fight with creditors and stuff, but the bankruptcy court got me covered. Okay. And so, and I just love that. It just makes me feel safe. But as far as taxes are concerned, the one thing that I see when I get a lot of stories across my desk is celebrities. They got $5 million in taxes that they owe. They got their houses in foreclosure, and they refuse to file bankruptcy. And it's like, I don't know if it's looked at as failure, but I'm like, how many times did Trump file bankruptcy?
Yeah, it's the opposite. This is a silly old way of thinking. Bankruptcy is a business tool. Basically, it's to do what's best for you, your business, your family. Everybody should know what bankruptcy is about. That's why I'm glad you're doing this. Once you have issues, especially with the IRS, they don't mess around. And any exemptions that you have do not apply to the IRS. So your homestead in Florida, if you get a tax lien, they can take your house, whether it's your homestead or not. And if pride is getting in the way of you doing what's best for you and your family, saving your house, then that's on you. And I know there's a lot of negative marketing out there. I think it's pushed by creditors.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Banks, creditors, even though they've already made the money that they were supposed to make off of your credit card, usage or home loan, because the interest rates are crazy. It's like you never really own anything if you have a loan with someone or owe someone.
Yeah. And another thing that people don't realize is, bankruptcy is written into the Bible, really. I
didn't know Jesus much.
Yeah. Hey, forgive the debts and forgive my debtors. I say it every Sunday. And it's every 7 years you're supposed to get your debts forgiven and forgive your debtors.
Like that.
It is.
It
and
is.
it's written into the Constitution of the United States as well. And the reason that we do it as a country is obviously we're a country that is built on entrepreneurship, built on credit. How many trillions of dollars are we in debt as a country now? I think 31.
Yes.
And if we had debtor's prison, which still exists in other countries, people wouldn't take the risks that they would to start ventures and borrow money and try to grow their companies, because if it didn't work out, they would go to jail. Which somebody told me, and I haven't visited that. I believe it is Saudi Arabia where they still have debtor's prison, and they have all these nice cars that are just left at the airport because when people default on their debts or are about to, they just go to the airport and they leave, and they never come back. So they leave their Bentleys, they leave their Lamborghinis, and they just leave them sitting there, and they end up getting auctioned off. And obviously that's not the right answer. So I'm glad that we have this system. I believe it is a fair and powerful system. And as you saw yesterday or whatever day it was, the judges that we have really care and they want a right result.
He made me cry.
Yeah, right?
My judge made me cry. And you know what else I loved about my judge? He wasn't biased. He said, I don't know what you did to get here, Miss Kiwi, and I don't care. Right? Obviously you done pissed some people off, but you got a plan, and this is a chance for you to rebuild. And go far, and when he said that, when he said confirmed, chills went all over my body because people didn't understand what I was up against. And here I am being told so many different things. This is going to be taken, that's going to be taken, taxes, I'm like, hold on. I can pay this, but I can't pay this like this. And stress is the number one killer
for sure
of people before. Because when you're stressed out, you get a heart attack. When you're stressed out, your pancreas stops working. When you're stressed out, your cancer starts, your hair falls out, all of that stuff. And for me, I had thyroid issues, which is hyperthyroidism, which is it's a symptom of stress. So my thyroid is always overactive because my adrenal glands and cortisol levels are this. And besides, I'm a very hyper person anyway. So it's like, I cannot stress or make myself even more excited because then it's a detriment to my own health and mental health as well too. And so when he hit that gavel and said, and he smiled at me, he looked at me, I was like, I wanted to do the ASAP Rocky move and jumped in the trap. I was gonna be like, oh my God, like did he just say, because a month prior, we were sitting in front of him and it was being asked that my bankruptcy get thrown out for fraud and all this other stuff. And I was like, how the hell did we get here? Like, I was like, Chad, what the fuck is going on?
It was a different feeling. Right? A very different feeling.
30 days prior, I was right before this judge and I'm sitting there like, I know he ain't finna throw my bankruptcy out. We've been doing this 2 years. I know this lawyer ain't let me down. He told me not to worry about nothing. All of this stuff was going through my head. And when you went up there and pled my case, you had told me first of all, when we were sitting here, you was like, listen, we know which way the judge gonna lean within 2 minutes.
Yep.
And when the judge started talking, I'm an avid communicator and listener. I said, wait a minute, he ain't mad at us.
Yeah.
We didn't do nothing here. Like, I was just like, but he still got in our ass.
Oh, for sure.
And said, when y'all come back here, it's either we confirm it or we're going to trial.
Yep.
And you came back with a full plan of confirmation with the money that was proposed in the third plan prior, and we got it done.
Yep. And Judge Grossman's great. And
he's a good judge.
He is.
He is.
He is by the book, very strict. Like I said, he doesn't see calorie. He sees the law, brings the parties with all their faults, whatever's going on, and he makes a decision based on the law. And he gives people a chance. And that's what I asked from all the judges. Like, Judge, give me a chance. I know every one of my clients has issues, or they wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Right? We're here to work through those issues. And, as he said, we pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
You did. And you told me when we first got assigned the judge, you said, I want this judge for you. And I said, for real? Because my last judge, you was like, no, I want him for you because he is by the book. And if you do what I tell you to do, everything will be fine. He doesn't get involved in all the catty back and forth. And he demonstrated that, during our hearing before our confirmation hearing. And it was just, listen, if there's an issue, we're going to work it out in trial. but I'm not here to take sides based off of who did what. And when he said, I don't know what you did to get here, but you're here, and here's your another chance. Don't come back in my car.
don't come back. I don't want to see you back here.
I don't see that. I was like, and so if Judge Grossman is watching this, Chad said he wanted you and that you were a good judge and you were a fair judge, and I believe that. And he told me that you had a very extensive background in what he did, and I think he kind of felt a little jealous too, because he was like, there was some excellent lawyering on both sides. Like he was just like, I remember those days. It was like he was reminiscing on the like he was kind of jealous.
Yeah, he is one of our newer judges, even though it's been 5 years at this point.
Yeah,
I was actually fortunate. I was co-counsel with him at least on one case, so I learned, and he's one of the most diligent people, and he's also one of those people that sees every angle, and you know, you're fighting this big battle up here and you think that's it, and he's just sliding over here and he wins the war. You're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
and he was that guy.
That's you. I don't think anybody saw you coming, and I love that you work that way. Like, you're not a chatty patty lawyer online. You're not one of those sleazeball lawyers. If you got a personal claim, that's not you. Like, you're very, hey guys, I'm here to help. Hello, if you want this. And so I think you deserve more promotion. And like I told my viewers, I said, you know, they've been waiting on this interview. They, Tasha, when are we getting the bankruptcy lawyer? I'm ready to file. You know, I said, hold on, before we get there, I got a few more questions for you. Now, when it comes to stays, because what happens is, like, back to this celebrity question, I'm seeing them $10-20 million in debt. And the IRS is getting ready to seize. Like, they just did it with 6ix9ine. Could 6ix9ine have stopped his seizure by filing bankruptcy? And he could have kept all his teeth that are online being auctioned now, all of his jewelry, his cars. Could he have done that?
So, and that was the IRS?
That was the IRS.
So the short answer is yes. Once the automatic stay goes into effect, and the automatic stay, as it says, is automatic at the time of filing the petition. So as soon as we get that case number, the day that we file electronically, you get an automatic stay. That, generally speaking, stays all collection efforts. Now, there are some acceptances to that. Criminal proceedings, family law proceedings will, generally speaking, continue. But everything else, including the IRS, stops. And then it moves from one IRS department to another, and they know the rules, and then we work out payment plans with them. So you can keep your teeth, you can keep your house, you can keep...
his diamond teeth were being auctioned. I was like, who's going to buy his diamond teeth that he put in his mouth?
You know,
that's gross.
You know, one time, and I'm not going to say the client name, but one time I actually had a Grammy in my safe that a creditor was trying to take the Grammy, which I had to look up the whole history of Grammys, and you actually can't sell a Grammy, by the way. Oh. Because they... are allowed to buy the Grammy back for $1. Who issues the Grammys? I don't know.
The Grammy board.
Grammy board.
Yeah.
So they have a right. They have it written in so that artists can't sell their Grammys, or bankruptcy trustees or creditors can never take it, because they always have the right to buy it back for $1, because they don't want that, which makes sense. Yeah. You know, it's sad when you see people selling their Super Bowl rings or selling memorabilia because, you know, they need to pay their mortgage. I get why they're doing it. So I've had really interesting things that we've ended up saving through this process, and especially the Chapter 11 process is very, very powerful.
Okay, so I just lost my job. I'm behind on my mortgage. I'm going into foreclosure. I'm behind on my car payments. How would you handle a situation like that?
That's actually the perfect fact pattern for a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. It's set up for somebody that had a temporary setback. So you lost your job. Now you're going to have income starting back up. You're able to pay now when you weren't for a certain period. So you're not going to lose your house. We'll file the Chapter 13. That'll allow you to make up those back payments over up to a 5-year period. And same thing with the vehicle. You can make up those payments up to a 5-year period. And again, stops the foreclosure. We filed this week, the morning of the sale, we filed a bankruptcy, and it canceled the sale.
What?
Yeah.
I know that homeowner was probably in tears.
They were crying. They were stressed out. We actually met with them on Saturday, because we're open on Saturday, and they got all the documents together. They came in Monday morning. The sale was at 10 a.m. We filed at 9:30, and it was canceled. They saved their home.
That gave me chills, Chad.
It's life-changing stuff. And something you talked about earlier, that the health issues. Credit score is only important because we make it important, right? Yeah. And a lot of this debt, I had an older couple, beautiful people. They came in, they were all stressed out because they had these judgments, they had this debt, they had everything. But all of their assets were exempt. So they had Social Security coming in, they had retirement accounts. They said, well, forget about the debt for now. What do you want to do? They said, we want to retire to Portugal. I said, then go.
That's why I fuck with Chad.
Right?
Because Chad asked me when I came here, he was like, so what you doing here with all this debt? And your husband African? I said, I ain't going nowhere, Chad. He was like, so you want? I was like, we gonna do this. Yeah.
But they send me a Christmas card every year from Portugal. I have an open invite. They said it's the best place they've ever lived.
You're going to piss a lot of lawyers off that work for the creditors?
But, hey, if you really want to go try to collect the money, go to Portugal.
Go to Portugal, and their laws is different up over there.
Of course.
It costs money to go get money.
Of course. And even if they go, they're not going to collect anything because it's Social Security income and retirement accounts. Can't touch it. So that's why I said if you want to file bankruptcy, we could probably figure that out. But you don't have to. Go to Portugal.
And you didn't even make no money off the deal.
Made nothing.
See, I told you he's not one of them lawyers. He ain't Busby. Listen, I'm playing.
But I get free port wine whenever I come visit them, though. So
that's amazing. You get all the wine with me.
Absolutely.
You get all the wine with me because you unlocked something in me that I knew I had. But it was just like I was under a cloud, and I was just like, I'm this happy person. I come from a very, very I'm not a victim. I'm not even a survivor. It's kind of like there was a part of my life where it wasn't happy based off of circumstantial issue. It was out of my control, right? And then I'm an adult now. And as an adult, we have the power to change our circumstances through perception and education and learning and surrounding yourself and putting yourself in different environments. Just like I was in an environment of no control of my own, now I'm in control of my life. And it's always about taking control. And you reminded me of that. And so did my husband. It was like, listen, my husband tells me every day, listen, if this goes down, he told me this the morning of when they were asking for the bankruptcy to be dismissed. And it could have been either dismissed and then everything would have went back to collections, levies, trying to take the house, trying to sue me more, trying to interrupt my peace of mind. And my husband said to me, just like you said to me, you said, Tasha, if all this goes away, they can't take you. You built this and you can do it again. So if you have to start over and you know what to do. And I looked at him and then we walked into court and then you said 2 minutes, the judge will tell you which way he gonna leave it. I was like, okay, we good. He kept us there longer than it should have been, but it was like, okay, now we're here and we're even over the mountain. So the fight is not over, of course, but I have a peace of mind to know that I can work. And if anything happens, even while I'm in a bankruptcy, because people say, well, what if she defaults on a payment? I have a lawyer here that will take care of all of that and say, okay, something went down. We can pay this. Let's keep it going. Yeah. That's what it's about. And I love that I'm able to make those adjustments and adjust to life and things like that. And continue to skyrocket. And I can make as much money as I want now.
That's it. And I have no doubt that you're going to crush it. This will all be a learning experience.
It has been a learning experience
for both of us.
You pissed a lot of people off. They tweeting about. I was like, look at my lawyer at Billboard. Look at my lawyer being written about it. Because this was. Would you consider my case unprecedented?
It's up there for sure, and part of the reason why it is. Unique, if not unprecedented, is because a lot of lawyers wouldn't take the case. So a lot of issues like this don't get worked out because lawyers just don't want to deal with this type of case because it's stressful from our side as well. So I have to speak with my team like, look, we have this case. It's obviously going to get some attention.
Got a lot of attention. Have you seen the write-ups?
got so many emails from so many different publications I've never even heard of, including larger ones that I have heard of. But other ones, I'm like, who is this? But, you know, with new media, new media wants to know, and you know, and,
how did you do it? Because I was supposed to be off YouTube, off Facebook, off Meta, homeless, no car, no money, kids can't go to college, taxes up to my ass. I was not supposed to be here.
Yeah. But you're a fighter, and that's what happens with fighters. You know, they get through it, and you know, I consider myself a fighter as well. I'm a scrapper. Yeah. And we've built a nice firm, and I think a nice reputation where people know if nothing else, we're going to fight for our clients. And if you're part of the Van Horn family, you know, you got.
I actually had some winos saying, "He's my lawyer too."
That's fantastic.
Tasha is here, lawyer. They were looking at my picture. They was like, "Why she look like that?" Because I was crying. I was crying. And you know what else made me happy? I just got to say this: is that the lawyers from the other side came and said, "We're fans.
Oh, nice.
I love your work."
Nice.
And I said, "I'm fans of y'all too."
Nice. And that's how it should be. I mean, the whole system. And the community, especially in the Southern District of Florida, we're a family, and I fight like hell against some of the people in my family. But at the end of the day, it's about respect. And you know, this was a long fought case. I'm glad that we got the result that we did. Yeah. And more importantly, I'm glad that you're on the way to just rebuild and keep building, I should say, the empire.
Shout out to Brett Leiberman.
Yep.
You recommended Brett Leiberman.
That's my guy.
He is one of I didn't know Brett Leiberman was like really that guy, like until because you were like, hey, we need another lawyer. And I was like, why? Your husband. Because there were some fraud allegations saying that, you know, that things were being transferred to him and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So we went and got Brett Leiberman, but I'm thinking Brett Leiberman is just like some regular lawyer. Comes to find out he is like head of the Lawyers Association for bankruptcy lawyers.
Former Bankruptcy Bar Association president. And actually, the first time that I met Brett was probably my first year practicing. Yeah. And he kicked my ass in court. Kicked my ass. Yeah. I was like, but I mean, in my defense.
That's bold of you to say, go get a lawyer that beats you to help my husband, because it's like, but you're willing to do anything to win. So you said, go get it because you're going to win.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's not about pride. You know, I had a bad set of facts, but I thought I had a unique argument. It just did not work. I just got destroyed. And I don't know if he's going to remember the case, but it did not work at all. I was like, all right, yeah. And then I got to know him, and he became a good friend. Yeah. So I don't get to team up with him as much as I would like to, but I think it really worked here, and without his, because when you get into any case, both sides are always looking for weaknesses, right? Of how can we get to you. And in a lot of my cases, trustees, like in a Chapter 7 case, will look back 4 years. Oh, you gave this to your mom. You gave this to your sister. You gave this to your cousin. Well, if you don't pay up, I'm going to have to sue them. And nobody wants their mom sued, generally speaking.
Correct.
So my clients are set like, all right, do I let my mom get sued for $5,000 that I transferred 2 years ago because I didn't keep receipts on what it was for? Or do I give them $2,000 now to just settle it? And most people are like, let's just settle it. So it's usually regarding smaller amounts. So what you have to do is you really have to look at the big picture and how to protect the big picture. And since there could be a conflict, I can't represent you and the mother. I can't represent you and everybody.
He couldn't represent me as Shaq.
Correct.
And so Brett came in, and Brett calls we put together the dream team because Shaq had a whole nother issue. And because they feel like, well, he's the husband, and even though he didn't have a judgment against him, yet he is primarily Tasha is 80% of my business. Like I wouldn't be able to do this business without him. And so Brett got in at such a crucial time, learned the case, and because what he does is he defends people from bankruptcy fraud allegations and stuff because feds could come in. He's working with people who are being charged by the feds for, these types of things. And so for him to kind of know what people are going to be looking for, he was able to put up a good defense, for my husband. And he worked with you diligently And y'all kept me out of it. It was so amazing at how y'all kept me out of it and said, Tasha, go work.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and worked, and he was able to work. And so I just, man. Y'all did that shit. Because it, like I said, it could have went very, 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 very bad for me. But without you guys, definitely without God, without my husband, without my team, because my team went through a lot of scrutiny as well, because they looking at publications. I'm like, yeah, y'all ignore that shit. Ignore that shit. You know what I'm saying? We just got to work, and I stimulated them forward, and they worked. We went on a 23-city tour.
Wow.
Last year.
Wow.
We were in every city with every wino. When I tell you our brand, Chad, you made it possible for me to take my brand and take it beyond the internet. Because a lot of times, new media, we don't get respect because we didn't go to school to do this. Mm-hmm. We didn't get grant. You know how you got to go through the gatekeepers in Hollywood?
Oh, for sure.
We honestly, we should get a lot more respect because we knocked on doors.
Yeah, you hustled.
We knocked on doors.
Right?
And so for us to take our brand and sell out venues, I'm talking about the owner of City Winery was like, we need to have you all the time. We need to give you a deal because I came in right behind a big name comedian and sold out.
Wow.
And they were like, who is this? I'm like, just have my check ready because my bankruptcy lawyer is going to need these numbers. I'm like, I really like you made it possible for me to just open up so many different revenue streams for myself and not only pay this debt, but make tons of more money. And my team, they haven't seen a drop in their pay. They haven't, they're flourishing. And I call Chad. I'm just still in it's kind of like I just got married or something.
The honeymoon phase, yeah.
I'm in the honeymoon phase, but to anybody out there, it doesn't matter how much. Well, there's a threshold on bankruptcy.
There really isn't. So what I tell anybody, if anybody's struggling with debt, and I have people that call me every day that have $5,000, $10,000 to millions of dollars worth of debt. I had a client that legitimately was individually making over $1 million a year, and he was like broke, like couldn't afford McDonald's, broke.
I can see that.
Right? And because it's not always about how much money you make, it's how much you keep.
What you keep.
Right?
I can see that.
Right?
Yes. Okay.
So if you're struggling with finances, give me a call or give somebody that's a professional a call about it, because there may be options that you never dreamed of. And you're replaying these things in your head that's like worst case scenario where you're going to jail. I have clients still think they're going to jail for not paying credit cards. And they're losing sleep every night. And I answer them like, you're not going to jail. They're like, well, what's the worst that can happen? They can file a lawsuit and try to collect from you, but they can't collect because you don't have anything for them that they can collect against. They're like, really? Oh. And it's a 5-minute phone call. But for some people, it's life-changing. And again, I'm not necessarily filing a bankruptcy for that person. But now they're realizing that somebody's not going to come to my door and arrest me for this credit card. So if you're struggling with debt, you should reach out to a professional. We have a lot of videos online and all of that as well. But it's best to have something customized to you. So we do free consultations for everybody. Mine
was free.
Yeah, I remember yours was a phone first. I was like, yeah, maybe we should be in person.
You told me, you was like, come inside.
It's a little complicated. It's a little much for...
He gave me coffee. He was like, sit down. So what's going on? I was like, well... And then,
So anybody struggling with debt, whether it's tax debt, credit card debt, or whatever debt, just make an appointment. And we may end up working together. I may just give you some helpful advice and then you move on with it. But you shouldn't deal with that stress because, again, it manifests itself in so many different ways. That stress takes a toll on your life, takes a toll on your loved ones, breaks up marriages, breaks up families. Just get a hold of it. Swallow your pride if that's what's holding you back. All of even our 5-10 minute consultations are attorney-client privilege. So it's not going to be blasted out there on the internet or anything like that.
I have 2 more things I want to discuss, and then I'll let you go because I know you're a busy guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got some kids. You've got the Big Brother, Big Sister program here. I just met a bunch of like soon to be like entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors. I'm like, you doing the thing, Chad?
Yeah,
like,
great program, great kids from Stranahan High.
Yeah, they're interning with you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
One thing I want to add, because I have a friend, and I kid you not, we've been going back and forth about this. She wants to file bankruptcy, but her husband does not want to file. And here's what I'm gonna say. I filed bankruptcy. Me and Shek are married. I filed bankruptcy. My husband did not file.
Correct.
I am the only person in bankruptcy. Now, for her, he has her thinking that it's going to affect him too. How does that work in a marriage where one spouse is stressed out from the debt, but the other spouse is like, we can take care of it? Could one spouse go in and say, hey, well, I'm going to take care of my debt this way?
So that happens all the time. And it's funny because when one of the spouses files bankruptcy and they clear everything out, usually after the case is over and they see how like happy this person is, the other spouse comes in about 6 months later, we're like, I want to do that thing.
Like she got new credit cards, everything, because your life starts over.
Correct. And it really is the fear of the unknown, because most of our clients haven't been through this process before, and they just think it's the end of the world. And then when they see it's not that big a deal, and they're just like, oh, it's going to be broadcast, everybody's going to know. Look, nobody cares. People have their own problems they're dealing with, right? So they really don't have time to spend worrying about your problems, unless it's your close circle. Obviously, they're going to care about you. But yeah, if one spouse wants to file, they certainly can. And we do it all the time. If one spouse has all the debt in their name, we clear out that. Does not impact the other spouse in any way.
Now, what if it's shared debt? So how does that work too?
So if it's shared debt, and what happens often, and if you pull your credit report, generally speaking, you're going to see 3 designations. You're going to see borrower, which is a B. You're going to see C, which is a co-borrower, or A, which is an authorized user.
Okay.
If you're a borrower or co-borrower, that's your debt. 100% is your debt. If you're an authorized user, you're not responsible for that debt.
Okay.
So if one files bankruptcy, the authorized user, that'll all go away. All that debt will go away. But if you're a borrower or co-borrower, you're still going to have to deal with 100% of that debt. So if there's a couple that has a $10,000 Amex and their co-borrower is on it, one goes away, this spouse still needs to pay that $10,000.
Okay. And that could cause an issue too. But like if neither one of you have the money to pay it, then it's best that both go into bankruptcy. Now, this is the part that irritates me because like I said, this is my second bankruptcy and both were very successful. People are worried about, well, doesn't bankruptcy show up on your credit report? I'm like, so does late payments, delinquencies, and all that other stuff. Bankruptcy has never stopped me from getting a house, getting a car, getting a credit card. They actually gave it to me when they found out that I was in bankruptcy.
Yeah, and again, that's people are so concerned about their credit that they don't realize their credit's already bad. And the only way to get it better is to take care of that debt. So the Chapter 7 in bankruptcy takes about 3 to 4 months beginning to end. Then you can get cars while you're in bankruptcy. There's companies that specialize in that. There are credit card companies that specialize in giving offers to people. They buy the list of people that are filing bankruptcy. They wait the 4 months and then they're mailing them 0% offers.
That's what happened with me. Yeah.
And a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is on your credit for 7 years. Chapter 7 is 10 years. But that doesn't mean that you can't rebuild. The Federal Housing Authority, FHA, if you need a loan from them, it's 24 months after bankruptcy. So we're talking 2 years, and unfortunately I have a lot of clients that they try everything else because they want to avoid bankruptcy. They try the consolidation, they try the negotiation, they try everything out. And then 18 months later, 2 years later, they file bankruptcy.
And they've wasted all that money with debt consolidation because like when we file bankruptcy, we're told don't pay nothing.
Correct.
Because I remember there was an issue that I was trying to take care of before my confirmation date. And you were like, nope, don't pay it.
It has to go through the plan.
It has to
be included in the bankruptcy.
And I was just like, okay, great. So, and you addressed it. And I just want to say, one thing that I've learned through this process, and I want to say through you, and through Brett Leiberman as well, which was you're pretty much your co-counsel with bringing such a complex case in front of the world successfully, was that I should have had a bankruptcy attorney before I started my business, because the way y'all went through every fucking transaction PayPal accounts, Cash Apps, QuickBooks, emails. It was like y'all broke the whole business down. Like this was worse than an IRS audit.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of paperwork that y'all went through, it was like, what the fuck? It made me like, oh my God. But then when you help me to build it back up the right way, you're going to put this over here. You're going to start this business. And now the bankruptcy court is actively watching to ensure that my businesses are being ran according to law. So that if the IRS comes in, oh, okay, this is over here, this is over here, this is over here. It was like, you can't learn this in college.
No. Absolutely.
What you got, nobody can go to school and learn this. I think y'all learned this through seeing so many businesses or just people's lives shattered by just not knowing basic management that we don't learn in school.
For sure.
You learn through life. I think y'all should offer some type of service to where you could help people to start a business and start it right so that they don't end up in bankruptcy. Or if they do end up in bankruptcy, which is not a bad thing, it's going to go smoother for them.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing for entrepreneurs is putting those systems in place because your focus, generally speaking, when you start a business is making money, right? Because that's the hardest thing is how do I get my first customer? Whether it's a law firm, whatever business it is, how do I get my name out there? How do I get my first customer? You always have those back end things. Okay, when the customer signs up, what do I do with the money? Okay, do I get QuickBooks? And then at the end of the year, like what taxes do I pay? What should I be putting aside? I mean, those are all issues that I started as a solo practitioner. Nobody in my family was a lawyer, so I couldn't just call my dad, call my uncle, and say, hey, what do we do here? And they were just things I had to learn. Luckily I went to Robert Morris University entrepreneurship program, learned from there, went to law school. They didn't really teach you much about running a business in law school. So I had a little bit, and I've been working like you since I was very young. But again, that institutional knowledge that maybe other people have, I didn't have, you didn't have. And I agree that there should be more financial literacy for business owners and for individuals. That was one thing that if I won Squid Game, I wanted to start with Big Brothers Big Sisters. On
Squid Game.
Yeah. I wanted to start a financial literacy program within Big Brothers Big Sisters because just with a little bit of knowledge, you could avoid serious financial issues. And I'm the best to see it because we're fixing them all the time.
Correct.
And if we can get on the front end, it actually might cost me business, but I don't care. I'm here to make a better world if I can. So I think that's a great idea, and that there will be something in the future where I work with business owners and individuals with regard to financial literacy and setting up the right systems to make sure
we gotta have that because I was scared when y'all was really looking. That's the thing too, because we'd be like, well, what they gonna find? They gonna know they gonna know I sent this money over here. Then what I'm gonna do? And you're gonna be like, so we're gonna classify that.
Of course,
we're just gonna classify that. Spent, you can't get it back. Who cares? What do you have now? What's on the table? And that's what you told me to do. Bring you 1.5 million. And we got us down to 1.2. And for 5 years, I am protected. No one can garnish me, take anything from me. And not only that, I have the freedom to make more money. And so any excess debt that's accumulated outside, I can address that within the plan without losing anything. So absolutely. I can buy a house, I can buy a car, I can start a new business and grow. Send my babies to college.
That's right. Coming up soon.
Oh yeah, Tasha about to graduate. So yeah, she wants to take a leap year, so that's good. Yeah, that's good. But I got some time to breathe. But last but not least, I do want to tell everybody how they can call you because I got viewers that are watching internationally, right? But I don't know what districts you qualify for. Do you qualify in the whole state of Florida? Yeah. How does that work? If they were to call you and they have a business in Florida or they reside in Florida, how do they call you?
Yeah, so I'm in the entire state of Florida. I'm also in other districts like Western District of Pennsylvania because I'm from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
To call me, it's 954-637-0000. Also, if you Google Van Horn Law Group or you go to vanhornlawgroup.com, we make it very easy to get in touch with us. If you don't have a connection to Florida, I know we have a referral network that we can reach out to other bankruptcy attorneys in other states.
Okay.
So we have a really strong referral network there as well.
Well, I got something that you did. Okay, so I just signed a deal with the Bankruptcy Referral Network that you put me in contact with. What do you know? My bankruptcy lawyer, in order to help me to get the $1.2 million, helped me to sign a deal, okay? And so we're going to be helping every single viewer to figure out if bankruptcy is for them by putting them in contact with you and your firm. So like I said, if you are in, like he said, if you're in Pennsylvania, if you are in Florida, call him first. But if you are not, please use this link below. It's in my name, okay, in the description box, Bankruptcy Solutions, and they will help to find you a bankruptcy attorney free.
And they're good attorneys. I know them. They're caring, good attorneys.
Yeah.
And the good thing about me as well is if you ever want a second opinion on something, I can certainly review anything.
Yes.
I'm happy to do that. And again, the goal is to give people hope and give people an opportunity to build the life that they need to live.
Did you go out after, like, you brought home my confirmation?
So it's actually my wife and I's anniversary.
Happy anniversary! How many years?
5 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
5 years, newlywed.
Yep, newlywed. And so we did go out. We celebrated. We had a glass of champagne.
Oh,
and,
nice.
and cheers to the anniversary and cheers to finalizing the case and a successful result.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Now, was I ever gonna go to jail?
There was that one time. No, I'm messing with you. No, luckily that wasn't on the table.
Look, I was just like, where do you get these rumors from? Like, I'm going to jail. One day I called and asked, I said, Chad, am I going to jail? He was like, no. I was like, what? I mean, media was going.
I think I said not yet.
Yeah, you did. You were sarcastic. The media was going crazy. And here I am up live. Yeah, so the next celebrity, and they like, Tasha, talk about this over here. And I'm like, one thing that I love about you is you told me, even though my gift and my curse is in my mouth, I talk for a living. I make a lot of money with my mouth, but I also can lose a lot of money with my mouth. And you were like, Tasha, be quiet. Be quiet. I got this. Don't answer no questions. Don't answer no press. And I love how you didn't even talk to press during this very controversial time. But I was like, I was like, well, you shouldn't get hit today. And I'm seeing your quotes across Billboard and Rolling Stone and everything. And so this was definitely a win for me and for my family that we're able to put something that was plaguing us for about 8 years behind and grow and just be great. And so you probably will see me again because I just love bankruptcy so much. If the IRS hit me with some back taxes, I'm like, Chad, file it. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, I know that this will be a lifelong friendship now, and that's another thing I love about my job is I get to meet very interesting people, let's just say, and good people. And sometimes I see them at their worst. And my favorite thing is when my wife and I are walking down the street and we see people, hey, Chad. And my wife's like, how do you know them? And I can't say they're a client or not. I go, I know them from a while back. And they're like, I think they're a client. And I love to see just people, everybody likes a comeback story. You know what I mean?
I saw him one day. I was getting obliterated in the news and you were out drinking. And I ran into you and you was like, I was like, Chad. And you was like, hey, how you doing? You good? It's my buddy here. I was just like, they just told me I was going to jail. What you doing out here drinking?
We're allowed to have fun too.
I was like, give me a. So I remember you was like, don't worry about it, Tasha, take a drink. And I was like, okay. So, but listen, will you come back at least once a month and take some calls?
Of course.
From the viewers.
Whatever you need from me, you know you got me.
Okay, Chad, I promise. And you may see him on your favorite, because he be out here auditioning here in Hollywood too. And we may be telling his business. So you better be good to your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Because don't make me have to expose you, Chad.
Oh, I'll be dead.
Because I'm equal opportunity.
I'll be dead, so it'll be all right.
Wouldn't that be funny to be like, Tasha, how you exposing a lawyer that helps you? I have a job to do. And last but not least, I do want to tell everybody, because people think that like you were just milking me with legal fees.
The opposite of that, for sure.
Can I say how much my legal fees were?
Sure.
They didn't even reach 100,000 for 2 years. Yeah. I don't even think they reached that much. I think it was like when you filed your fee application, it was at like 60-something thousand.
Yeah, the one thing that we definitely don't do is milk our clients, because we know you're already in a tough situation. Yeah. So it's our goal. Again, we look at it like a partnership where, You have to be successful for us to be successful, and vice versa. So whatever we can do to take it easy on that end. So we try to stick to a budget as much as we can. Obviously, it's not all in our control because the court's going to do things, creditors are going to do things, and we have to do certain things. But my team runs very efficiently.
For my complex case, well, all that paperwork you guys collected, every transaction, all those emails, everything that you were getting, that was expensive, but I love that you have an entire firm here and you were able to deviate a lot of those things to your staff to help you so that, like you said, you're very expensive. He told me straight up, he was like, listen, I'm gonna come in here for 10 minutes. We're gonna say what we gotta say and I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna let my associate attorney come deal with you because I do not want your fees crazy. And one thing that I love about it is that his fees are in the bankruptcy. So Chad didn't collect his first payment until this year, 2025. And it wasn't because I owed him, it's because in bankruptcy, we pay a filing fee. Once they sort out the plan and we have a payment plan and it gets confirmed, that's when we start to pay it back. So even your lawyer fees will be addressed within your bankruptcy unless it's a filing fee to the court and maybe, some hourly work that they got to do to file that. So don't let that discourage you. And that's why I wanted to talk about that money because a lot of people would think, well, how much is he getting paid? And
and that's the other thing that we do that's unique for other firms is we do the payment plans, and we even do the payment plans for our Chapter 7 cases because we realize some attorneys will charge $5,000 for a Chapter 7. Our average is probably around $2,500. But we'll file. If you give us the filing fees and costs, which are $388, we'll file the case and we'll work out 0% interest payment plans to help people out. Because this is such a powerful system that we want to give people access to it. And we actually fought to be able to allow us to do the payment plans for our Chapter 7 clients because a lot of clients would come in, their bank accounts are frozen, wages are being garnished.
How are they gonna pay?
How are they gonna pay? And I remember one judge.
Or nothing in the bank, but you can scrounge up $300. You can do that.
So I remember one judge said, well, why doesn't one of their family members help them? I go, their family members are broke too.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We come from money around here. Like, they ain't got it either.
Right. So that's why I said, that's why I got to work this out. And the judges luckily agreed with me that we can work that out. So again, one way or the other, if you want to rebuild, we're here to help.
My slogan for the last, I think it was like 4 years is that I ain't got it. Now, with Chad, I got it. I love it. Don't forget, guys, call Chad Van Horn. You can Google him at Van Horn Law Group. Like I said, let the reviews speak for itself. He's got 5 stars. They're not bots. They're actually real people. I'm one. I even saw some of the winos that are signed under your firm. I'm not getting paid anything to do this, okay, with Chad. However, if you're not a part of Florida or Pennsylvania, please use the link below that I am getting paid to refer from that is completely free to you to talk to a bankruptcy attorney and determine whether or not bankruptcy is the way to go, which is always the way to go because who wants to pay debt?
I'm here for it.
Who wants to pay it? Especially if you ain't got it. If you ain't got it, you ain't got to pay it. But if you got it like me, you can pay it. Exactly. So, and that's what it is. And I'm protected by the courts and we're done. Thank you, Chad. So we'll see you next month.
You know it.
Okay. Good luck to you.